What's good with it? Thursday. Let me tell you something, Left. That game is vastly approaching. As always, myself, Shaun Davis, Malik Zaire, Lil Left in the background, extra co-host, Lucky Lefty Podcast, CFB Nation, Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube. Subscribe, share, hit that like button. Let us know what you think. Leave your comments. We respond to all. Don't forget patreon.com/Lucky Lefty Network. We give you your teaser every Wednesday night, 2 for 1, Lucky Lefty Podcast and Three's Company. Last night's episode of Three's Company was, as always, very entertaining. We got invaded by the noobs last night, bro. Kappas were coming out from everywhere. I was like, man, when did we get all these Kappas in Notre Dame?
That's right.
Like, when did this take
First
place?
time ever, because that's not even a thing over at Notre Dame.
You know, the crazy thing, we talked about that. Like, you had stepped away for a moment, and, you know, I went to the beta chapter is at the University of Illinois for the Kappas. The Alpha chapter is at the University of Indiana. So we were wondering, we were like, man, does Notre Dame have a Kappa chapter? And I said, bro, I think most cats have to drive to either an Indiana or a Chicago chapter if they're going to pledge at Notre Dame.
Yeah. It's like you got to do something in the surrounding 4-hour range, because Notre Dame that's not what they do.
Yeah, so I'm going to step out. Look, I'm going to apologize. I did it yesterday. Some people were offended by the Rick Ross clip that we played, because of the wording of Rick Ross. We didn't say it, we were just trying to poke fun. Have fun. A lot of people enjoyed it, but for those of you that might have been offended, we do apologize. We do apologize. Myself, I always think about the kids possibly sitting next to their parents and they watch our show, and I always try to edit out certain things. In my haste yesterday, didn't get a chance to do that. It is what it is. Charge it to my heart. Charge it to my mind, not my heart. That's the correct way to say it, right, Love?
Hey, that's what you try with.
So, let's get to it, man. The rosters, and shout out to Notre Dame. All the players are going to be wearing shirts with scripture on it in honor of Jaden Mickey, loss of his mom and loss of his grandfather, man. I want to say within days of each other at the end of 2023. And man. It's a very
dope of Marcus Freeman putting that in there.
Yeah, it's a genuine gesture. So we're about to go over the rosters, and then second half of the show, we're going to go over our favorite clips from the spring. Players, coaches, things they said that got us excited. I venture to say that we're going to see our boy number 10, Chris Mitchell, in the place to be somewhere.
Yeah, that probably might be the leadoff. That might be the leadoff video.
Chris Mitchell's definitely one of our favorite clips from the spring. If you have a favorite clip from the spring that you remember, put it in the chat. We'll make sure we try and get to it, and we'll do that in the second half of the show. So, Left, you want to talk about the rosters, bro? The blue roster. Steve Angeli, CJ Carr. Steve Angeli will still be wearing the red jersey. CJ Carr and Kenny Minchie will be live. You talk about having an opportunity to change your life. Both young men will have that opportunity. Jeremiah Love will be the running back along with Aeneas Williams and Dylan Jefferson for the blue squad. Chris Mitchell, Jaden Greathouse. And I see this right here. You're just going to put the two top dudes on the blue squad? You talk about stacking the deck. Alex Whitman, Jordan Faison.
They like to do that.
And Deion Colsey. Eli Reardon is the tight end. Jack Larson highlighted at the tight end position. Sullivan Abster, Pat Coogan, Sam Pendelman, Billy Shrout, and Emil Wagner. I will say this. They have the best receivers, but they don't have the best offensive line. Sullivan Abster is going to be playing tackle, I believe. Probably play a little bit of both. R.J. Oben and Bryce Young, they definitely have two of the top. Dude, they have R.J. Oben, Bryce Young, and Boubacar Traore on the blue squad. Riley Mills as well. Donovan Heinisch as well. Sean Sevillano, Brennan Vernon. Linebackers, you had Jack Kaiser, Drake Bowen, Jalen Sneed on the blue squad. Jordan Clark on the blue squad. Now the safeties are Luke Talmadge and Ben Minnick. Cornerbacks are Jaden Mickey, Micah Bell, Marty Auer, and Mickey Brown. And then Mitch Jeter is going to be kicking along with Chris Salinger, the punter. Gold squad. Kenny Minchie and CJ Carr, both for the gold squad. Jabron Payne is going to participate. Jadarian Price is not participating in the game. So the gold squad running backs are Jabron Payne and Justin Fisher, KK Smith, Michael Gilbert, Jack Polian. Gold squad wide receivers, tight end Cooper Flanagan, David Sherwood. Offensive line, Jagasaw, Spindler, Craig, Terry, Tosh Baker, Joe Otting, Anthony Knapp. And then the defensive ends, Josh Burnham, Grant Bristow, Jordan Botello, Junior Tulamaka, Eric Lindstrom, Howard Cross, Jason Onyek, Devin Houston. And then Cole Mullins has been the news of the day, being moved to the interior. He's 6'4". He's only 244 pounds right now, true freshman. So we'll see. He's definitely red shirt. That's definitely when you hear that news, it's like, yep, you're a red shirt. You know,
easily. Yeah. It's okay though.
Yeah, you thought maybe he would get a chance to compete. Maybe they found out, man, we're just gonna red shirt him and see if we can use him on the inside or see if he's gonna stick on the outside, maybe at big end. So it's an exploratory year for Cole Mullins. And that's good. You get a talented kid like this, man, who actually flashed during the first practice that I was at. You can just pretty much redshirt him and you see the talent. It's a good vibe. Kingston, Bila Muasa, Jay Nosberry, Kahanu Kia, and Trey Reeder are the linebackers. And then you got the two studs, Adon Shula and Xavier Watts, along with Kennedy Urlacher and Devin Ford as the safeties. Christian Gray and Chance Tucker, but cornerback along with Isaiah Dunn. And then your specialists will be Zach Yoakum, Marcelo Diomede, Eric Gomes, and Andrew Cross. There you have it, man. So it would seem, things are tilted one way offensively for the blue squad, and then, the seesaw goes the other way a little bit defensively. So, but it's a pretty even matchup, man. And the story has to be the two young quarterbacks for this game.
Absolutely.
There's no way to avoid that.
Especially if they're live, they look like they've nominated Steve as the lead racehorse, but these other two are the determining factor of that backup role, which is very crucial. But also, with it being live, you get to see their potential if they were in a position of being a starter and what it would look like in live action. So, I'm still thinking they're very comfortable having CJ being shelved this year, but for good reason, not because he's not capable, which is something that's a good problem to have when you can make these type of moves and put guys on ice, not because of their play, but because their development coming out the second year on top of what you already like, you're looking to hit the ground running. So very good moves by them, but seeing CJ live, there's no consequence. That's what your mindset. There's no consequence of putting CJ in live because you're not thinking he's game one starter running out versus Texas A&M. And for Kenny Minchie, not that he's not going to play, but you need to see what he looks like in live reps because you got to see what Steve looked like during live reps during the season. So I like how they set it up. Gives both guys opportunities to show the fan base what they're capable of, like Marcus Freeman was talking about in terms of guys calling the sack and being iffy on it. Now these guys are both live. You get to see what that escapability and playmaking ability is of both of them.
Absolutely amazing time to really check out the future at multiple positions, man. I'm really excited about seeing offensive lines, and I'm also excited about seeing these young players on both sides of the ball. I kind of said this after the first practice, this may end up being one of the most entertaining blue and gold games we've seen in a long time. And the only caveat I've had the entire spring is like, just make sure everybody's healthy. Just make sure everyone's healthy, right? And then we lose Benjamin Morrison. And then Riley Leonard has another procedure. Like, really, in my opinion, health is going to be the only thing that truly negatively impacts how this team is able to perform on the field. If this team goes into the season healthy, it's a problem. They're going to be a problem for the schedule. an extreme problem. I truly believe that.
Yeah, because of the depth, and you're leaning on guys in the fourth quarter when you're 2 and 3 deep, and staying healthy is a big proponent of that. But we're good with our twos being almost as good as ones, and vice versa. So that's what helps this factor of if we just stay healthy, we can make a run at this series.
Absolutely lucky Lefty podcast. So this weekend is going to be a long list of visitors, man. Long list of visitors coming in. Logan Sadate, he'll be here. Gerby Lambert, Bodie Cahoon, Teddy Rizak, Carson Hobbs, Bronte Johnson, Tabor and Benny Powell, all of the 24 guys that weren't early enrollees, they'll be on campus for the game. Anthony Rizak, Xavier Southall, Max Anderson, all PWO signees for the 24 class. Deuce is back in the building, Left. I know you're going to have some comments from him on tomorrow's show. Justin Thurman, the running back, Will Black, offensive tackle, Matty Augustine, Owen Strebick. You know, anytime Deuce shows up, his big offensive lineman is showing up. Whenever Deuce shows up,
that's right. He always, anytime he shows up to Notre Dame, he needs a Secret Service with him. So
absolutely,
definitely showing up protected.
Chicago's own Joseph Reed, Davion Dixon, Anthony Saka, and then Josiah Kia. Those are the 25 commits that are going to be on campus. Dylan Faison, the brother of Jordan Faison, 2026, the first commit of the 2026 class. He's going to be on campus. And now we want to watch some film on a very interesting young man that's going to be on campus, Left. And let me tell you something. He's interesting because he was a wide receiver formerly committed to the Ohio State University, Left. And Ohio State usually brings in the creme de la creme when we talk about wide receivers. And this young man chose to decommit. And when he did that, Notre Dame jumped back in the mix. And there's a very interesting connection. This young man from Cocoa High School in Cocoa, Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, if you heard that before, it's because 2026 quarterback Brady Hart, who just visited Notre Dame, that's right, he just visited Notre Dame. This young man is his teammate and his main target. So for him to be back on the market and for Brady Hart to love his visit, and you saw the back and forth that Boggs and Hart had while he was on his visit at Notre Dame. Hey, could we say some breadcrumbs or some dots need to be connected here? Well, it could be, but he'll be in town for the blue and gold game. Left, I know you got a chance to watch his film. Tell us what you like about this young man.
I like the dynamic ability. He just comes off as a receiver that's just dynamic. A guy that can take it 5, turn it 15, 20, 25, has breakaway speed, but also has the ability to make plays when it's needed. You can tell that this team depends on him being a receiving threat, and he cashes in every time. And it's hard to replace that type of energy, but also that type of dynamic ability. He's not necessarily the tallest, but not necessarily the shortest. He's that mid-range receiver that you like. And anytime you get a guy that can be the main factor of your offense, being a receiver, you're dealing with a playmaker that's dynamic and has the ability to take the top off the roof. And that's something that we're looking at with this kid right here. He's got that fluidness where he's a good route runner, but also the ability to get yards after catch. If you're making safeties and corners miss second level, third level, and taking it to the house, you're a problem. Somebody that defenses have to circle week to week and say, how can we contain this type of player?
I recently saw this young man at a recent event. Yo, his vert, let me tell you something. His vert has to be 38 to 40 inches.
Easily. This is out of high school now. This is out of high school.
Yeah, and that's just from watching him at a recent 7-on-7 event. His vert is nasty. One of his best skills is his ball skills, to be able to go up and get 50-50 balls over defenders. And then you talked about his ability to run after catch. This is something that is a Mike Brown specialty. Like, dude, it seems like every kid, 3-star, 4-star, doesn't make a difference. He loves kids that can do something with the ball after the catch. And based upon what we talked about, changing the narrative about the Notre Dame offense, Javon Boggs plays into that narrative that you're trying to change. He's physical too, left. That's what I like.
He looks strong. One of those compact type of receivers that's strong through the catch, but also hard to bring down. And when you get a kid like this, you can put him on the inside, on the outside. He's not a dainty type of player. He's like a sort of how Jaden Grayhouse build is a thick, stout type of receiver. So for him to be able to just be tough through yards after catch, I think that's something that Marcus Freeman is looking to advance in the receiver room, but also as playmakers on offense. When you talk about playmakers, is guys that do more than just their job. So this is a perfect example of doing more than your job. Yeah, he's going to run the right route, but what's doing more is when he's taking it to the crib and breaking these tackles. That's what you got to find in recruiting, something that's not necessarily um, given to everybody, but the kids that can do it are the ones that are pretty special.
Yeah, man. You like this kid, Javon Boggs. He's checking it out. You love the fact that Ohio State loved him. We don't know the full details about his decommitment, but just the fact that he decommitted, got back on the market. Notre Dame did make his top seven. He released the top seven on yesterday. Notre Dame made the top seven, along with some other impressive schools. But at first visit, after that release, is Notre Dame on the tail of a fantastic visit for his quarterback, 2026 quarterback Brady Hart, who, by the way, left. You love Brady Hartsfield. Absolutely love Brady Hartsfield.
Oh, absolutely. And I think when you talk about combos and tandems, this is the tandem and combo that you want. A guy that can throw it all over the yard and a guy that can catch it anywhere, make all the plays, and also can take it to the house and make the quarterback's life look a lot easier than just trying to go 12 plays and make a bunch of completions. He can take it 6 plays and he can take the top off the roof, break some tackles, and make a good game out of it.
All right, another wide receiver we want to talk about that has already visited Notre Dame. We want to break both of these guys down because we feel like, yo, if you can sneak them into the class in the 25 class, still hold on to that big guy out there from Nevada, from the Las Vegas area, Bishop Gorman, you're okay. I know the love people still want Taylor to be in the class and some other guys. Braden Bynes Bright ends up committing to Washington. But we want to talk about a kid, man, Houston, Texas. We go down to the state of Texas. Now we know you throw a little shade at Texas every now and then, but it's giving us some pretty KK Smith, Texas, Jaden Greathouse, Texas. Texas has given us some pretty good talent up late at the wide receiver position. So maybe you'll feel different about the wide receivers from Texas down there left. But Tanuk Hines left. He is, in my opinion, an incredibly dangerous receiver. You talked about dangerous with or without the ball. This young man out of Houston, Texas, is going to be one to watch his recruitment to see if he lands at Notre Dame. And I can tell you right now, man, he loves what the Fighting Irish can give him. 6'1", 189 left. Let's check him out.
Now, what I love about this kid is that he's a competitor, and you can tell from just the first play right here, 50-50 ball, he's coming down with it, staying in great control. And another kid that's not going down by the first man. The trend that you see from Marcus Freeman and how he's recruiting his receivers are guys that are playmakers, not guys that just do their job. That's the phrase for this year. It started from Max Bullock, carried with Marcus Freeman throughout the rest of the team. It is not exclusive to just defense. This is offense and defense. It's not just good enough to know what's going on. It's not just good enough to be at the spot. Where we take the next step as a program is to not only know what we're doing, but be playmakers in how we get it done. And this is another example of a guy that can take it to the house, make the plays that you need, athletic enough to make all the catches that are necessary. He's not stiff. He knows how to get off the line of scrimmage. He knows how to create separation. And the best thing is he knows how to make plays. And you see he's playing everywhere from outside to inside, playing special teams and just being an impact. And this is where college football is trending from a playmaker standpoint, is those outside threats where you can give them the ball at 2 yards or 22 yards, and they're going to make the game a lot harder for defenses to cover. Another 50-50 opportunity, and he's coming down with it. He's even giving a little head tap to his
Right.
defender.
I was about to say he didn't have to tap Shorty like that.
But I like the swag because the attitude is what's needed in a receiver room that's been very docile. We've been the neuter dogs in the receiver room. Let guys like Charlie Jones run our whole operation, and he doesn't even exist in the court in the receiver room. So when you get competition and competitive edge like these guys that we're recruiting at this receiver position, there's no doubt in my mind that we can not only be receiver you, but be a productive threat for offense that we haven't had in a while from a receiver group, not just one player. Because you take a player like this, mix him in with what we have now, you're going to come out with something special. Because I believe that Mike Brown has all the qualities to get the best out of the guys in the room. And when you can get guys competing at a high level and being playmakers, not just receivers, we got playmaking receivers, and you get a bunch of them in one space, you're bound for a couple 1,000-yard receivers and even more. So I'm super excited about what this kid brings competitively. He may not have the lightning speed, but he has the grit and he has the toughness to win those 50-50 balls and also be a tough run after the catch guy. I mean, we've seen 3 or 4 plays in this film alone. It doesn't matter how many guys around him. He believes when the ball's in the air is his, and that's something you can't teach. But to have that as a high school player, it can only get better as he gets to college and survives in that competitive space. These are the type of intangibles and qualities that you like out of receivers that are freshmen, that are early on freshmen. And these guys are coming in ready to play. These aren't guys that are coming in and being like, oh, if he just gets a bigger frame in a year or two and his development knows some routes, he'll be all right. No, this is a kid that can come in and make an impact day one and challenge guys that have been holding that position and give them a run for their money.
Yeah, once again, that cat Nuke, the Nuke Hines, had a fantastic visit. Notre Dame blew him away. I just flat out tell you, Notre Dame blew him away. They put something on his mind. This is a kid that probably was just hell bent. You know how those kids are hell bent on staying in the state of Texas? And he's one of those
Yeah.
kids, man.
Yeah.
Just staying in the state of Texas, and then next thing you know, Mike Brown comes in. Mike Brown says, "Come on up, just give us a look," and then that
Give
look
us a
just
look.
turned. Just give us a look.
And that's a testament to where Notre Dame is as a program right now. We're top 3 offers you can even get.
Mm-hmm.
We are a true golden ticket, Willy Wonka in the chocolate factory of offers, because you're getting not only the experience, you're getting the right scheduling. Yeah, NIL matters a lot, but when the value of what Notre Dame's offer holds at this point, something you can't find too many places in college football.
Yeah, that I did see that news that we see in the chat. Jaden Rashada. Remember, KG was talking about him and his situation and how he was promised money, and now this is his second time hitting the portal. His third time, as a matter of fact. So
technically it's his first time because he didn't go anywhere. He just
he was committed. He decommitted. Yeah, you're right. So this is his first time in the portal. You're right.
But he was out there wilding out there at ASU. This is probably a good change of scenery for him. You know, he's out there living like a rock star. So hopefully he gets somewhere to get more.
Hey, if it's a school you're gonna live like a rock star at, it's Arizona State, boy.
Yeah, he's definitely not focused, but especially the team not being as great as it is, I think him finding somewhere he can find some discipline will help his career right there.
Mm-hmm. So shout out to Notre Dame for putting the draft on YouTube and making it live. Like I said, they're doing a great job this year, man. The media side of really drawing fans in, really promoting and marketing the football program, doing a great job. Love what they did today. Love what they did for Jaden Mickey. As I said before, the 2 young quarterbacks are going to be live. Steve Angeli won't be live. And, don't get caught up in who was picked first. This person was picked for this person. Ladies and gentlemen, going into this thing, they knew they had to even the rosters out. You're not about to see Drake Bourne and KBA on the same team. It's like, yo, I mean, not as far as same team, but I said that all wrong. It doesn't matter that KBA went before Drake Bourne. None of that matters. Not telling, not saying, he's ahead of him on the depth chart. Has no bearing. Just enjoy the game. Enjoy the game, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, this Saturday, blue and gold scrimmage, Notre Dame Stadium. It's going to be pretty fun to watch the new era of Notre Dame offense, in my opinion. If there's a new offense, then the defense has to react accordingly, right? The defense isn't going on the field saying, well, we know 7 out of 10 times they're running the ball. You know what I'm saying? You know how easy practice had to be for the defense? Like, dude, 7 out of 10 times it's going to be 12, 13 personnel, and they're running the ball. Now,
you gotta put your thinking caps on.
Oh, yes, sir.
You got to start reading keys and really study tendencies because we're a balanced team now. Can't just tee off on us on third down. We got to balance.
Mm-hmm.
Only can we run the football, but we can throw the football on the outside of the hashes. So there's more space to cover. So what we struggle with in tackling open space, teams going to have the opportunity to tackle us in open space because we have the athletes for it. Got a guy like Chris Mitchell. Got a guy like Jadarian Price. Got a guy like your Jeremiah Loves and your Jaden Greathouse. Guys that you're going to have to tackle in space. Your Jordan Faison. Having those factors included into a run game that's already established, included into the middle of the offense, middle of the field with your tight ends that have always been a threat. Now you got to consider the outside and guys in space, something that we haven't had consistently. But adding that to our offense is going to put a lot of strain on defenses knowing what we're coming out with.
Yeah, I agree with you, Love. We got a super chat we want to get to. I got Eric Stadell. The LL Nation, hope to see my guys Saturday. Go Irish. Hey, Love, man, some stuff happening, man. I know they got the old school linebackers coming in, like Stonebreakers, Stams, and that crew. All of them are coming in. Persich, I believe, is coming in. Chopped it up with him. No, this thing is growing year by year. You're probably going to see Ryan Clark there, his family. Hey, bro, I don't think I'm going to be spending the night. Wait a minute, what? That was a big fight. What was the fight last year we were trying to watch after the blue and gold game? Wasn't that a fight we were trying to watch last year? What fight was it?
Was it a heavyweight fight? Because this year is Devin Haney and Garcia, right?
This year is Haney and Garcia. Last year, who was it?
It was somebody.
It was somebody because we were at the townhouse waiting for it to start.
Oh yeah. It was
it was me, man. You.
It was a disappointing fight.
Yes, it was because it ended up being easier than we thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
Spence Crawford.
Was it Spence Crawford?
Yeah. It had to be Spence Crawford. Yeah, it was Spence Crawford.
It was Spence Crawford?
I was like, oh man, he ain't gonna make it, dog. Yes. I remember being disappointed. Yes, because I was like, man, I just remember feeling super disappointed.
Disappointed?
Yeah, because it wasn't a great fight, it ended up being, but the hype of it was just as big as the spring game.
Let me double check, dude. I thought Spence Crawford was in the summer. Let me double check, bro. I don't know. You might be right, Left. You might be right. I have to come back with that one. Man, but it seems like they always have a big fight the weekend of the blue and gold game. Like you watch the game, and go watch the fight. That's what I thought. Spence Crawford was like July 29th. You on mute, bro. You on mute.
April being that time of the year. It's just
Yeah. It was Tank Garcia. Yes.
Yeah, it was Tank Garcia.
Yes.
That's what it was. That's what it was.
And Tank, and you think
I
Devin's
was
gonna
disappointed
handle
in that one too.
You think Devin's gonna handle Garcia the same way?
Those are two. They both appear to be two very unserious fighters compared to other fighters in their preparation. Like UFC fighters, they aren't as goofy. I feel like in their approach to pregame as Ryan and as Garcia and Haney has been. I can't tell if they're friends for real or they're just got competitors that for so long that it's like it's probably hard for them to gear up the same emotions as two UFC fighters that probably see each other maybe once every now and then. But it's weird at right now where boxing is for most of these fighters, they've been fighting each other since they were Junior Olympics. You start hearing all the stories of Tank and Shakur and all of them already knowing each other. So this isn't like these guys are coming out of nowhere. These guys have been in the same fighting arena and around each other long enough to where at this point it's like a friendly duel that's just aged at a certain point. So I don't know how competitive they look at it as because this is not the first time they've seen each other. Just how Tank and Shakur were going back and forth yesterday. They're talking about when they was already doing this in sparring. So, going back to a real fight is like
Shakur ain't ready. No. Shakur can beat Tank eventually. But
not right now.
He's not ready. And see, the danger in Shakur is not being patient.
Yes.
He just needs to be patient because every great fighter is going to go through those lulls when you don't have anybody to fight.
Yeah.
But the big fights will come if you're patient. You're patient. See, it's all about timing.
That's right.
Because Floyd he got under Canelo's skin. He got Canelo right before Canelo's prime.
Right before.
He caught Canelo right
before
before
got
his prime.
so much better after that fight.
Yes.
He just matured and everything.
Yes.
Like he really caught him at the right time.
Yeah. So there had been a rematch, which Floyd possibly still could have won.
Floyd didn't want that.
He didn't want.
I got him. He said, "I got him when I got him."
Got him when you got him, man. Let me go and move on. But it's so much. That's why people were upset about the Floyd Pacquiao fight because they both were past their prime, honestly. In that fight, they both were past their prime in that fight, so you really didn't get the best of it. But it ended up being a decent match. Canelo was not in his prime when he fought Floyd. He was not mentally in his prime. That's what Floyd exposed. Like, dude, you're not here. You're not ready for this stage. You're a totally different stage. The same thing we say about Notre Dame. Like, bro, you can do whatever you want at Wake Forest, at Duke. That's not this stage. It's totally different. And he showed Canelo. Canelo wasn't even a defensive fighter going into that fight. And the next thing you know, after that Floyd fight, Canelo comes out doing all of this stuff. He learned from the fight. He was able to evolve and make himself a more perfect fighter, more balanced fighter, rather than just being a dude that just wanted to come straight forward. He tried to come straight forward and bully Floyd, and Floyd just whooped him all night. Just whooped him all night, dude. Just whooped him all night. If you think, I don't know what you're watching, you need to go watch interviews with Canelo. Canelo has admitted that he didn't realize that he wasn't ready until Floyd beat him out of his own mouth. Canelo said this. So if this man is saying that's the fight that turned me into a perfect fighter or the fighter I was going to become, now how can you argue with that? It was easy to see. He wasn't in his prime. Canelo was in his prime probably 2 fights after that. A fight or 2 after that. That's when it was like, okay, this dude is ready to take over boxing. And I think from a business standpoint, I think Floyd recognized that. And I think Floyd said, yo, I need to grab this kid while he's ascending, then to fight him once he gets there. That dude was still ascending, man. His career was, that's why even after he lost to Floyd, his career didn't plummet. His stock went up. You know what I'm saying? Because he was competitive in the fight. He was, man, Canelo on that night would have beaten anybody else in boxing, which really shows you how cold Floyd is. It wasn't like Canelo didn't go in that ring and just get flat out embarrassed. He got outboxed. You're on mute, bro.
Which is almost getting embarrassed, because I think Canelo's
you got to hold that in context, right? That's like if you
hold it in context because of who it was.
I'll give you a perfect example. If I went and played Hannah this weekend, 1-on-1, Hannah's gonna kill me, bro. I go play Hannah at dog, but right now 1-on-1.
It's gonna be tough.
I wouldn't be embarrassed. I wouldn't.
Yeah, you wouldn't be embarrassed.
No, not at all. No. Matter of fact, I might wear that as a badge. Like, yo, I got some buckets. I got some buckets on H2.
That's how I felt playing Skylar Diggins in open gym my freshman year.
Right.
She came and played because we were playing basketball during the summer of my freshman year.
Mm-hmm.
Sky played a couple games with us, and I locked her up a couple times, and I took that and ran with it. Mm-hmm. Now she obviously gave me buckets, but it's Skylar Diggins at the time, so I'm not embarrassed. It's like, oh, that was just a good bucket, but I also got mine too. So it's one of those things where it's about who it is. The context matters, but there's no doubt that Canelo changed his whole career or career path once he got through that Floyd fight.
Man, yeah, dude. You absolutely know that fight, like I said, in his own words, like, wait, dude, you don't have to believe me, even though I know what I'm talking about. But the man told you. It changed my career. After that, it was almost like Floyd gave him the blueprint for how people could beat him. Like, this is the only way you can be beat. And if you get better at this, you're going to be all right. Do you feel like, is there a game from last year? That's a good point, Lefty. Is there a game from last year that you point to that you feel like could be the blueprint for Notre Dame going into this year for them to be like, if we just do this, no one can mess with us this season?
Well, in terms of what? Like in terms of being a strategic type, so to speak? Because I think for us, what's going to make the difference is our D-line presence and how we go about adding the receivers as a threat to the offense to give us a good balance of what we're looking like for the long term. Because we know that one thing that we can rely on this year, especially at this very second, is the depth. So depth is going to carry us through late in the season. But what's going to change the perspective of us is, are we going to be more balanced offensively, and how big of a threat is our D-line going to face or going to impose on these teams as the season gets later? Now, it's a good indication that we'll have a good chance of that because of depth. But the D-line also has to have some star power too. When Clemson having 4 All-Americans at D-line, that's the star power. That's included to the depth they had. But they have 4 guys that are All-Americans. Your 2s and 3s can't be too far off from that either. At that time, they had gotten Xavier Thomas, who was like a 5-star, D lineman at that time, on top of what they were already had. So for us, if we can show a D-line presence, get sacks, in particular, if we're talking about what type of presence, and then having a threat on the outside, have a couple 1,000-yard receivers, the sky's the limit. And that's being very quantifiable now.
Yeah.
Get 2,000-yard receivers, you lead the top 15 in the country in sacks. It changes life at Notre Dame.
I'm going to look at it from this standpoint, Left. I could choose the Ohio State game, right? And one could say, man, if we play that way and we can just finish, right? 2 straight years we had the lead in the fourth quarter against Ohio State. 2 straight years. If we just knew how to finish as a team, if we had the weapons to finish as a team. Heck, 2 years ago at Ohio State, if they had any type of offense, they go into the fourth quarter up double digits. Just flat out. They go up, they're up double digits at Ohio State. And now, with the improved play at quarterback, with the improved weapons, running back, wide receiver, and then, you're waiting for an inexperienced offensive line to kind of evolve and get better throughout this season and throughout the schedule. I'm not going to point to Ohio State and say those are the 2 games that made or carried or ushered Notre Dame into their prime or made them better as a program. I'm going to venture out on the branch, and I might be by myself, LL Nation. You guys, man, feel free to chime in the chat. I'm going to venture to go ahead and say the Louisville game. Not because Louisville is a program, is all that, not comparing it to Ohio State by any means. The Ohio State win would have changed the narrative about Notre Dame moving forward greatly, in my opinion. But I think the way they lost to Louisville in several ways was like, that'll never happen again. If they are right as a program, as we believe they will be in 2023, Howard Cross stood there and watched, just flat out watched, as the Louisville fans stormed the field. That was the game.
But that was Louisville's biggest game in their program history.
Understand what I'm saying? That game hurt. The Ohio State game hurt, but you go into the locker room feeling like, man, we should have beat these dudes. But you knew the talent was equal, if not more, on the other side. You're standing there, your college football playoff dreams are dashed, and you're watching them storm the field, and you're saying to yourself, we're not going to feel this again.
I thought our playoff chances were dashed when we lost to Ohio State. Just because of how particular and how deep and how it always comes down to those 3 games that determine our fate in the postseason. Now, it doesn't.
Well, as things played out, you probably, regardless, if they were a 1-win team, you still have Washington was the Pac-12 champion. You had Alabama who would beat Georgia. You had Michigan and Texas. Notre Dame still would have gotten locked out as it played out. So, in that sense, yes. But I just think the feeling, you watching their reaction, it was almost like they didn't even believe they lost to Louisville. Like they couldn't believe, like, I can't believe we just lost to these dudes.
Yeah, but that's after coming off of an emotional game versus Ohio State, like you talked about last season.
That was back-to-back. Don't forget, they went to Duke and played an emotional game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was a tough stretch. But I think that goes to what we kind of talked about with the Canelo Mayweather situation. You weren't ready. Like, it took a special team to go Ohio State, Duke, Louisville, prime time, back-to-back. That's an insane run. And it was going to be a challenge to even a veteran talented squad to run that game or that gauntlet. And they just weren't able to finish the deal. They just weren't able to, man. I don't think they were strong enough from a leadership standpoint. I don't think the coaching staff was ready to make the necessary in-game adjustments.
Yeah.
And help the players out. And then injuries hit, no excuse, but injuries hit. And then they didn't have the quarterback to be a difference maker. That's when the quarterback really needs to step forward and say, get on my back.
Yeah, and that's definitely where the quarterback has to make his mark It's in those games that are signature. These are signature games we're talking about, not just games on the schedule. And
Mm-hmm.
Louisville became, I'm not going to give it Louisville a signature game, but I think that was the most disheartening loss, considering the way we lost. I mean, it was 17-17 in the fourth quarter
Mm-hmm.
against a team that will never be at that height, in my opinion, in a long time. So for us to lose that game, I thought would be just as bad as losing to Duke. We just pulled that out in the last second. So um, I think that this year, early on, you can say the Texas A&M game is a nice program shifter, not a program changer. It is just shift the mindset of Notre Dame being in the framework of this is how we're coming out in year 3, and we're
Mm-hmm.
not playing. It's the perfect we're not playing game. We're coming full force.
I can see that. Another super chat, man, before we switch gears. Blue Hope Thunder and Bolts, thank you for the super chat. We've heard a lot about the veteran D-line. What about the depth? What second, third string D-line has broken out this spring could be a due to 2025? Well, I think we've been pretty upfront about it, Left. We talked about it from the scrimmage last week on Monday. Donovan Heinisch, Gabriel Rubio, who definitely came on the second half of last year. He returns.
That's
in
right.
the summer and fall, right? Jason Onye, we talked about him down to down, being more consistent instead of just flashing. You know, do they go to the portal possibly to get a D tackle for depth? They could. There's no need. You have Armel Mookum, is another young kid that's going to be somebody to be heard from and probably in the more flash stage in his process right now. We said, dude, they got 6 dudes on the inside, man. They got 6 dudes on the inside. Are you asking for Georgia, Alabama, 5-star depth on top of each other? Nah, that Notre Dame's never gonna happen. But you talking about consistent guys that can make plays? Heck, Sean Sevillano Jr., we talked about him from Saturday, making plays as a true freshman.
Yeah.
So they don't need, dude, they just need guys to flash from a depth standpoint. We talked about this last night, right? Dude, just give Riley Mills and Howard Cross reps off early in the season. You know what I mean? Just give them reps off. We need them healthy. And this schedule is actually a blessing, dude, because I think you're going to be able to see guys like Jason Onye, Donovan Heinisch, some of the other younger guys make an impact, right?
Yeah.
Get reps, keep the big guys fresh. And that's the most important thing. That's the most important thing. That's definitely the most important thing. Because this season is all about building up to November and into December in the playoffs. That's it. That's the whole reason you go out and get Riley Leonard. Otherwise, we could have turned the keys over to the youngsters and let them develop. But the opportunity is now. They feel like they have an opportunity to get into the dance and make a move in the dance. We'll see, man. It's going to be very interesting. But I think they'll find a defensive tackle. A lot of people have been questioning some recruiting, on the D-line, specifically on the inside. That's an entirely different conversation.
That's right.
I don't even want to talk about it. I'm having too good of a day on this Thursday. I don't even want to talk about that. We come back, we'll have the best clips of the spring and talk about whether or not they still stand, how we feel about that, and how that forecast, not only Saturday, but beyond into the fall. We'll be right back, Lucky Lucky Podcast. We spin it
different. What's up, family? The merch shop is finally here. Lucky Lefty Network merch shop. We got it all. From the shirts to the hoodies to the hats to the nitty gritties. Come here right now. Shop with us. Come get the swag because if anything else, we spin it different. You see the gritty. You see how we get down. It's elite.
Do you know what time it is? Tell me, do you know what time it is? Tell me, do
Lucky Lefty podcast. We're back at it. We just talked about the spring game to preview the rosters. We went over Canute Hines at wide receiver 25 recruit. Jacob involved. Teammate of Brady Hart. Here we go.
Hey.
Yep, we talked about both of those kids. Man, some really good wide receiver recruits. Balls will be on campus this weekend. Brady Hart just visited in April. It could be really beneficial if that combination ends up at Notre Dame. But your favorite clip of the spring. What is your favorite clip of the spring? Let us know, man. Let us know your favorite clip of the spring. And Left, I think this had to shoot to the top, in my opinion. This clip right here. I'm telling you, man, when I heard this clip, I said, okay, all right. Things might be a little bit different around these parts, Left. And it's been a very interesting spring, to say the least. Let me line them up because I had them lined up perfectly.
Oh, yeah. Are we giving our top three?
Nah, I'm going to just play five. I'm just going to play five. All right. The first one we're going to play, linebacker coach Max Bullock.
Strong finish to the spring for Osbury and Kingston and Preston and some of the younger guys.
We just got to continue doing what we're doing. I mean, I just told them out there, like, we weren't happy with practice, 2 practices ago or last practice. So then between that one and today, it's how do you handle adversity? Okay, and then after this one, we feel a little bit better about it. Never as good as you think when you go watch the tape. Now it's how do we handle success? And those are two different ends of the spectrum. I know it's a success is a small. I'm talking about an hour and a half. I'm not saying we made it, but we had that small bit of success. Now how do we handle that going forward? We got to stay on the gas for those young guys. We got to eliminate any mental errors. Our offense has given us a lot of different things. That's part of having a new offensive coordinator, is you're dealing with different issues, and we got to be able to handle that and solve it on the grass. And there's still situations out there where we're not lined up.
All right, Left, before you come out, I have to combine these two because that's the first part. That's part A of Max Bullock. Part B, here it is, Left. This is the one that got you hyped.
He's always been that for us. He's always been, even since I got here, he's been the utility knife in terms of being able to play any spot that we ask him to do, which is a valuable part of what he is. Kai's is one of the most improved, in my opinion, over the last year and a half or so since I've gotten here. Okay, he's always known what to do, but he's finally starting to take even more control of the situation out there. And then really more so for Kai's, it's as simple as you got to go take more shots. You got to take calculated risks, and you're smart enough to know when those are. Don't make dumb decisions, but you got to take calculated risks. It's not enough to do my job. We got to get the ball carrier down. And to know when those are. Don't make dumb decisions, but you got to take calculated risks. It's not enough to do my job. Take calculated risks. It's not enough to do my job. Take calculated risks. It's not enough to do my job. We got to get the ball carrier down, and we got to make big plays.
There you go, Left. I'm gonna be honest. That might be top two.
That's right. That's right, because that encapsulates 3 years of getting to that point.
Yeah.
That's not something that was said overnight. This is something that is what Marcus Freeman at year 3 should be saying. Not at year 2, not at year 1, but year 3, he's saying, okay, now I got my coaches speaking the right language. It's not good enough. Because we're going to play some special players throughout the season that what you talk about on the chalkboard leading up to the game is one thing. But then when you get in the game against those players, it's a whole nother thing to take them down. And that's what we have to be our expert and our best at, is being able to handle these guys and not only knowing, but executing and actualization and realization that we can do it, and to have the motivation from your coaching staff who believes in the team. You don't get that around college football too often, where the coaching staff believes in the team that we have. Last year, I couldn't say that about Notre Dame, at least for Marcus Freeman. As confident as he is about this year's team, he wasn't as confident about last year's team as he is this year's team. I mean, everybody in the staff is talking about it. Al Golden, you hear Al Golden talking about it. You hear Denbrock talking about it, how special this team is, how top 10, top 5 this defense and offense can be.
Mhm.
He wasn't talking like that last year. We were saying, okay, we're going to go every day hard in practice, and the best practice players are going to be out there. That was last year's talk. This year is like, okay, the best practice players may not be the ones out there if they ain't making no plays. Because we're a top 10 on both sides of the football, and Denbrock just got here, and he's telling you that. Chris Mitchell said, yeah, y'all got me docked down at a 4-4, and I just got here, and that's not good enough. They even said when you leave the building and you do other things, Drake Bowen, when you go play baseball, you got to carry that linebacker mentality when you go out there.
Mm-hmm.
So the perspective has changed. The team has changed for the better, and it's the level of expectation is greater, something that is in year 3 is what we're looking for.
Speaking of Mike Denbrock, he's on the list.
I think it's important for our offense and them at the same time. So it just adds another dimension to what you're doing. Obviously, offensively, if you've got a threat coming out of the backfield, and we've got some very, very good, talented players at that position in particular, and we've got to use them in every aspect of what we're doing, whether that's getting them out of the backfield and letting them catch the ball, or splitting them out as wide receivers, or moving them around to different spots. Whatever gets our best players on the field, and there's a lot of talented players in that room.
What makes your offense so explosive? Kind of a two-part question. What makes it so explosive and successful? Then, how do you continue to get the tight ends and the receivers involved in this game where maybe last year the receivers weren't what we expected, and the tight end had a huge part in the offense?
Yeah, I think it's really it's an opportunity for them as kind of to learn that we want to be an offense that is up on our toes and in people's face when we play. We don't want to be back on our heels and adjusting to everything that the defense. We want to dictate the style of play with how we play. And to do that, you got to be aggressive. You got to be aggressive in how you call it, and you got to be aggressive in allowing the people that you're playing with to make plays and give them opportunities to make plays. So I think that's a big piece of it. And then, I think development-wise, wide receiver-wise, we're making some really strong strides there. I like where the tight ends are going, too. We don't have a bunch of healthy bodies there right now, but, Coop in particular has picked up the slack and done a really nice job.
Yeah, we haven't heard OC talk like that.
No.
It's been a long time.
And I think that's what's going to add to the benefit of where we are is when you have the confidence of your coordinator to be aggressive. That's spelling out greatness for what he believes in the guys on the field. It's because he's not going to be afraid to call that deep ball when we need it, because he knows that the guys on the field are going to execute that. Before, we wasn't quite sure. We were still filling it out. And for last year's changes to this year's changes being sort of similar, new receiver coach, new receivers in there, quarterback transfer, young guys that haven't particularly played. A lot of what we dealt with last year, we're dealing with this year, just a whole different perspective. Just a whole different perspective, a whole different belief system, a whole different confidence. Because at the end of the day, last year's issues were almost the same as what we're dealing with now, except the confidence in us accomplishing and filling in those holes is way better.
Yeah. Hey, that leads us to our fourth clip left. It needs no introduction.
People don't talk about my speed enough. I feel like they think I'm like a 4.4 guy, but I'm much faster than that, and they'll know soon. Say people don't talk about my speed enough. I feel like they think I'm like a 4.4 guy, but I'm much faster than that, and they'll know soon.
Look here, man.
Yeah.
Show us.
Yeah.
Show us. No problem. You get no problems out of us, Chris.
No problems.
Man, no, we meant no disrespect.
None.
No
We're
disrespect.
encouraged that you feel disrespected.
Absolutely. We are happy that you feel the disrespect of people feeling like you're a 4.4 guy. Good gracious. Man, don't threaten us with a good time.
That's
You
right.
get to watch somebody run 4-3.
That's right.
By all means, show it. Show it.
Show it.
That's all I'm saying.
So I just love the aspect of that we're coming out with a whole different mentality, you know, from the players to the coaches to the people around, that we're getting guys that match the intensity of what Marcus Freeman has an identity for in the program. Physical, tough, competitive guys.
Yeah.
Versatile. We mentioned 2 years ago about the change in recruiting, how we're getting guys that are playing multiple positions. We're not getting just a regular football player.
Yeah.
We're getting guys that are two-way guys, sometimes three-way because they play special teams, they flip-flopping positions. And I think the biggest bright spot in showing how that's been effective is you get a guy like Xavier Watts, who was a whole receiver, who, because of his versatility, because of the recruiting that we put behind him and the development that we have on staff with Mike Mickens and all those included, we turn that versatile, dynamic player into a defensive player of the year who could have easily been an offensive impact as well. So that just shows the proofs in the pudding when we get guys like Marcus Freeman, who's seeing the future of college football, and that is bigger than just having an all-time great receiver. You need an all-time great receiver that knows football, that has experience in different aspects of the field, and that's really been our upper hand. I think outside of just having great players, we got guys that can fill in different spots. It's like the NFL. If you can play and do different things, you can last a lot longer than just being a one position.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, man. Like I said, man, we met the first time I heard him say that, I'm like, yo, we welcome 4-3 into this locker room.
Yep.
Don't get it twisted. Like by saying you're a 4-4 guy, we meant no disrespect. Please bring 4-3 by all means. Bring it. Add it to Cam Williams, Michael Gilbert, KK Smith, Dylan Faison, Bo. Come on, man. I think Notre Dame fans would agree. We have no problem seeing 4-3 on this field. And I told you, that young man, the first practice, I will give it to, if you're going to make an impression, what Chris Mitchell did in that first practice, I was like, okay. I shut my mouth. Now you have to show it in the fall.
That's it.
Because there's levels, right? Right? You know how it is. You get a new person, a transfer. Maybe we had transfers in high school come in basketball and baseball level. And you know, you're like, all right, we'll see what this dude is all about. Then they do something and you're like, oh, okay. All right. But you still have to play in a game. This is just practice. He passed that test. Now he has to pass the test on Saturdays. And hopefully we get what Florida International had.
Well, better. You want better than Florida International.
If
they didn't win no games.
If Notre Dame gets 70 in a stack out of Chris Mitchell, somebody might be going to New York for the Heisman at the quarterback position.
That's right.
For real. For real. Because I expect Jaden Greathouse to be around 50, 60, close to a stack this year. Yeah, I don't know if they have enough footballs to go around in this offense, bro.
That's the great problem that I've mentioned before, which is why Marcus Freeman has to do a better job of identifying identity and where we are as a team. I love the whole, we're never satisfied, we're getting better every day. Yeah, that's great if you're in an individual sport. If we're talking about tennis, martial arts, shooting bow and arrows, javelin, shot put.
Yeah.
Those are great talking points when you're speaking to that. But when it comes to a team where you have a lot of great pieces, everybody's pretty damn good, you need to know who your X factors are. You need to know who who your go-to players are. You need to know what you're good at and what you're not good at, because that's the situations that you're going to have to coach to in the season that you may not know what you're going to come up right now. You may not know what situations you're going to be at, but you need to know your identity when those situations come up later in the season. So for us, knowing that Chris Mitchell is a dude and we got to go to him in the crunch, or knowing what receiver to go to in the crunch, because Chris Mitchell may be great for 3 quarters, but he ain't never played no big time football at this level.
That's a fact. That's a fact. He's in the same boat.
So to just say, oh, we're just getting better every day. Well, we kind of need to know who's ready for those moments when they come up and who we need to call to get the football to, because the efficiency is what you're going to have to really harp on when you have a surplus of talent like this.
What's the thirst on the sideline, though? See, this is what I'm interested in. Like, cats, they have to be hungry. Because this is not like a rotation where you have 2 guys at the top that's just getting like the bulk, and then the other 4 just getting spot. George Faison is going to get some run.
George Faison's going to get run.
Jane Greyhouse is going to get some run.
Jane Greyhouse is going to get
run. These freshmen are going to get some run.
Yeah.
Bo Collins is going to get some run. Chris Mitchell is going to get some run. Right? KK Smith is forcing his way. He's trying to force his way into the rotation. You got Logan Saldate. This dude is out there West Coasting it, putting up 200, 225 with the bricks underneath the bench on IG. Showing like I'm getting ready to come in and make a difference. It is a different mentality in that wide receiver room, man. It's almost like, put the meat in between the dogs and let them go at it. Let them go at it and see who's going to come out. I love it.
And this is high stakes football. So at the same time, this is not something where we need to be guessing either, or just letting it play out too much either. In my opinion, I think it needs to be very, very directed and very specific, because you got to think that not everybody's going to be happy this year just so we all understand that. Like, we talked about your favorite 6 receivers and didn't even mention the usuals. So because of that, there has to be some order to it as well. Can't just be like, well, one day you'll get it, one day you'll get it. Yeah, that happens, but it has to be a structure to the chaos. And that's where the geniuses of Denbrock and Marcus Freeman and Mike Brown and Dina McCullough and everybody included has to play a part in saying, okay, this is our go-to. This is what we can rotate in there at these times of the game. This is what plays work with specific players and combinations, because that's the detail that as a fan, we're not going to understand. Because when we're getting to the games, the fans just want to see it work. Yeah. I know we got all this talent. Let's see it. Let's see it come in actuality. Because think about Georgia. At the end of the day, all that talent Georgia got, who they go to when it counted? Brock Bowers. And it wasn't no indecision. It wasn't no, well, somebody's going to pop up. No, it was, it's 3rd and 12. Let's hand it to Brock. Oh, it's 3rd down in the 4th quarter. Oh, let's throw it to Brock. Oh, you double covered, doesn't matter. And so it just shows you that even Georgia, the most perfectly played last couple seasons team, had an identity, had their go-to. And they got the McClonsky kid they're hyping up. I didn't even know about him and his impact.
Lad McConkey, yeah.
I didn't even know about his impact until the combine.
Their 2020 class, bro.
They had George Pickens, they had Brock Bowers, McClonsky. They got the 6'7" tight end
Mitchell.
Yeah, they had 80. But come on, but we all knew who it was going to when it mattered. And that was Brock Bowers.
Oh, they had the Burton kid. But Georgia doesn't have wide receivers. That's what people say.
But Georgia, yeah, exactly. Come
They're
on.
They're about to have 2 taken in the 1st round.
Come on, and that's what I'm saying. That's how you know. That's how you know that Brock Bowers was the staple of that team. It was the identity. And the great offensive coordinator that's at the Ravens now that came from there, he understood that.
Yeah.
And he made a career off of that. And it had a lot of success. So from McConkey to Jermaine to George
I like how you keep adding an S to this dude's name. McConkey.
Yeah, well, I got that different tongue, I Can't pronounce all them.
That's that Ohio dialect.
Yeah, something like it. But
Everything's everything.
at the end of the day, they ain't got to end, right? But yeah, but we need to look at that as a case study. As we're not going out here. Okay, picture it as the Army, as some special military groups. They don't go in there when they're getting out Al Qaeda and just shooting up the whole house. They go in there and go pew 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 pew, couple silencers and they got the main guy. They're not going in there just spraying up the whole house because they got big guns. No. They go in there 6 deep, jump through the window, whatever they got to do. Couple pew 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 here and there. Very very specific. And then they get me in line.
What's the gun sound again?
Pew, 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 pew. Yeah, because they ain't just out there just spraying now. They ain't just hitting everything because they got women and children in the house too. They go in there. Oh, who is that? Casual, whatever. Pew, 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 and it's over. That's how we got to go in there. Yeah, we got the biggest, baddest guns that you can have on the market. But when we're tactical, it's not so much about the biggest and baddest. It's about how we strategically move and get the job done. So yeah, having all these big guns and all this talent is great. But if we're not tactical, like the Navy SEALs or the Army Rangers or them guys that get it done, then we might as well turn it to the Army and just start churning over all types of games. So
coming in with tanks, loud.
Yeah, we don't need to be like that. We need to be very specific.
Hey, you know what? You're talking about that, so we're just gonna go to the next clip. Jalen Sneed, what's up with that Mike Denbrock offense?
I feel like I've improved the most on just my mental side of the game, like just learning how I learn and learning how to play my best with the confirms of the playbook.
Jalen, for you going against Denbrock's offense, I guess how has that made you better mentally and just on the football field?
I feel like in Denbrock's offense, there's a lot of different formations, a lot of stuff to line up to, and I feel like just like not playing against it for the last 2 years, it's a lot different, so it's a lot more moving pieces for us, so it's really helped a lot.
Jack Kaiser, what's up with the
I feel like I've always tried to be a leader. I've always come out here and given my all, and it's always been super fun playing with them. It's just different, right? It's I want to contribute some of that to like Coach Denbrock in the offense. It's challenging me to be a better X and O guy, pre-snap, because every stuff's happening really fast. And so like there's just been little things that I've really taken a lot of pride and to try to get better at, and I think I've done that.
You know why? Everybody's not in the hashes, man. You don't have all 10, 11 defenders inside the hash. How about that?
That's right.
Defenders actually have to go out in space.
You got to cover space. They ain't used to that.
No, not at all. Not at all. And it's tempo. And you have to learn how to tackle in space. Didn't have to worry about that previously. Maybe 1, 2, 3 plays of practice. Other than that, 12 personnel, 13 personnel. These cats coming out tight end detached, 11 personnel, 10 personnel. What's going on? 21 personnel. Jeremiah Love into the field, motioning back. Another thing. Who's motioning? Which way did they go? Where is he going? Where is he going? You darn right it's challenging you pre-snap because you've never been challenged pre-snap by Notre Dame offense in practice. The most challenging thing was knowing where the tight end was going to wham to, or whether or not he was going to motion and block outside or go backside. That was the biggest challenge. That was the read.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was telling.
And whenever you got to cover the whole field, it definitely makes it tougher than it is just covering the box, which most of our defensive linebackers have been used to because of our offense hasn't been giving them much of a challenge. So I do think that Denbrock is not afraid, like you said, to be aggressive, and that's what it's going to take to put up points. That's what it's going to take to win games, and we have the players to be aggressive with. You hear Chris Mitchell tell you day one that he's disrespected by thinking he's slow at 4-4. I like that. So we need to have, and then even to speak towards the fact that Unfortunately, we haven't talked about the usual suspects much this spring at all. Just shows the transition of where the team is going. You know, where this team is being challenged on all levels. This is not just a senior-led team that we're just trying to graduate and have 4 good years and give out varsity letters and all of that. No, we're saying guys got to compete when they get in here if they want to really take the chance to get to the next level.
Well, we went through the top 5 clips left, and we didn't even have to play the head coach. No need. For what? But you have to at least get him in, right?
That's right.
You have to at least get the head coach in. So here's some of the best things from Marcus Freeman this spring.
I think for all 3 phases, it can be a little different, right? With defensively, you're going to year 3 of the same system, right? You have some new guys, but I think they're at a level that is, you know, how do we continue to iron out the details of this defense? Offensively, you're implementing a brand new offense, a new quarterback, right, and some new wideouts, and you're still figuring out some offensive line play. And so it's to me, okay, how do we progress, right, as we go through the spring for 15 practices, but also as we get to the fall. And so those to me are a little bit different. In special teams, you know, there's going to be some consistency in that. And so, you know, day one, I just don't want it to be, as I told him today, it's really not winner or loser. You know, we'll have the opportunity to have some winner and loser days where you can truly evaluate where your team is at certain points of spring and fall camp. But again, I think we have a mature team. We have a very intelligent team, and we have an unbelievable coaching staff. And so I look at this as a journey to Texas A&M, right? And that it's just a progression. I just want to consistently see this group get better and better.
Left, when we first heard that, it was like, whoa, first practice, you talking about journey to Texas A&M? Y'all, man, you already had a red scope on the Aggies. Love hearing it. Love hearing it from Marcus Freeman. He knows it's year 3. He knows what the expectations are. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's time to put up or shut up in this program. And he started off right there, first practice, knowing, hey, it is what it is. Everything we do from this point, even though it's one practice, everything from this point is aimed at Texas A&M when we step into that stadium down in College Station in August. He talked about culture as well.
Take for granted the things that you believe in that make you successful, right? The relentless effort and attitude that we have to play with. And I spent a lot of time with our team today talking about that in our team meeting, that's got to be our identity. That makes up for a lack of talent. That makes up for a lack of intelligence. Like the way you play the game, how hard you play, to me, overcomes all those different things. And so there's some guys that just understand that, right? They create habits because they do it over and over and over. That's how they practice and that's how they play. It's other guys that are new that you got to continue to make that choice every play to play with that relentless effort and attitude that's going to help us be successful. And so I don't want to take that for granted. Like, that's our culture. Our guys just play hard. No, we're gonna make sure that it's impounded in their brains and it becomes habits that they play that hard. And so when you have guys that exemplify that and guys that hold each other accountable, like some of our older guys, yeah, it does free up some coaches to maybe coach on some other things, right? We're not just coaching effort, right? And you don't let a lack of effort, you know, not be addressed, but you're not spending time just coaching effort. And that, to me, is now you're able to coach other specific things as you brought up. But I just don't want to take those things for granted, man. I think it's our job to never overlook that, like, just continue to preach relentless effort and attitude every single day and demand it.
This reminds me, this clip was very important to me because it talked about culture being established. And him talking about that in year 3, and pretty much saying, like, there's certain things that I had to coach in the first 2 years that I don't have to worry about that anymore. Which is crazy because his first year, he had a very veteran team. But all we heard about was stats between players and coaches on this is how we used to do it. This is the way we're used to doing it. And what Marcus Freeman and his staff were trying to bring in to get Notre Dame to the next level. And it wasn't coming from the youngsters. It was coming from veteran players. This is the type of foolishness he had to put up with. And your head coach is talking about, man, coaching effort. Like, really? This is Notre Dame. This program should be built on effort. Because Lord knows you don't have the talent. You don't have the 5-star stacked up like other programs. Effort should be at the top of the list when it comes to a Notre Dame football program. Heck, to get into Notre Dame is crazy enough. If you don't let up once you get to Notre Dame, yeesh. But the fact that he had to coach effort when he initially took the job is mind-boggling to me. But man, whatever he went through from a coaching staff, from a player situation, to have to establish the right culture that he feels like he has in place right now, from leadership, talent, players, depth, and coaching staff, I'm glad he went through whatever he went through. And all of us in life are going to have that experience as well. You're going to have to go through some tough times to get what you want, man. Everything is not going to be sweet, but it's worth it. Most great things in life that happen for us, they're worth the tough times. They're worth the obstacles that we go through. It's that much sweeter when we get to what one might call the promised land. And we hope Notre Dame gets to that promised land in 2024, starting with the Texas A&M Aggies in August. One more clip from Marcus Freeman, man. I have to play it because I think this perfectly encapsulates the first two clips and everything that this team is trying to establish. It's not over. Great spring, lots of hope, still pursuing better.
Over. It's never a finished product. What you're trying to do is build this group of coaches and talented individuals to make sure when we play game one, we're ready to perform, right? So we have to be more consistent on both sides of the ball at doing our jobs, at making plays on offense, making plays on defense. Our special teams has to get improved. Like, there's not just one area where we need to improve. We need to improve in everything. There's everything, right? But that's the mindset of this program, right? We're not satisfied. You're never satisfied. You're building this group so that when you play these 12 guaranteed opportunities, you are performing at maximum capacity. And in order to do that, you got to have a never satisfied mindset. And I think that's what everybody in this program has to have.
And then in terms of the running back room, today they did a great job, I thought, on blitz pickup in the passing situations. I know Coach McCullough would be pleased with that. In terms of the rotation, how do you see that sorting itself out? You have so much talent back there. Even Fisher today had some nice short yardage runs with the threes.
Yeah, I don't know what the clear rotation is going to be as we go into College Station, but we don't need an answer to that right now. We got some talented dudes in that room, and we got to find ways to get them the ball. And but in order to prove to us that you're going to get the ball, you got to continuously be trusted to do your job. And so I love what I've seen in terms of protection, as you brought up, in terms of executing. But it's a long way to get to College Station. We'll get to that point, and we'll talk about reps and how we get them the ball. But for sure, we have discussions of how do we get all these playmakers on offense the ball. We got to find different ways to do that.
Hey, man, Marcus Freeman, he said it right there. First part of the clip, man, it's a long way from a finished product. We got work to do. Still got work to do. Happy, ecstatic, talent, depth, everything's improved. Culture, everything's improved. Nope, not satisfied. Nobody in this program should be satisfied. Still got work to do. And then, he said it. We just talked about it. It's a good problem to have, but man, we got to figure out a way to get everybody the ball. I'm not used to this as a head coach. It's handed off to Audrey. Handed off to the backup running back. Pass it to the tight end. Move the chains. Punt. Play defense. Stay in the game. Wear them down. Offensive line. Push on them. Now, tempo. Score fast. Chunk plays. Let's go get them. Take chances. When's the last time you saw Notre Dame take 5 to 10 big shots? 5 to 10 shots in a game. When's the last time? When was the last time? Ladies and gentlemen, the time is now. Thy time is nigh. It is here. I don't know how it's going to play out. I don't know the results that are going to end up on the scoreboards every Saturday, and after a bye week, the next Saturday. I have no clue. Not a prognosticator, and I'm not a betting man, but I'm here to tell you, it's going to look a little bit different this fall. It's going to look a little bit different, and just in that fact, I expect Notre Dame football to be a lot more entertaining this fall, especially offensively, man. Hope you guys have enjoyed the preview, the spring game. The talent has been on display all spring long. Yo, we gave you the best clips from the spring to get you excited about what you're going to watch. And then, we talked about some of the guys that are coming in for visits. Then we talked about the rosters and how they shake out and what to expect. Pretty good show, love. Pretty good show. Any lasting thoughts? What are your lasting thoughts to sum up your thoughts on this entire spring?
It's an exciting time, man. I'm definitely more excited than years before. And I think that we really, are putting something together that is lasting. And when it's lasting like this, you can't go wrong.
That's why you can seal it up, love. Lucky Podcast. Thank you for everybody that joined us today. We appreciate you. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the chat always being lit. You know what time it is.
Petticoat. Petticoat Junction.
It's time to get petty.
Oh, we did a good job executing.
Are you upset with something?
And fire up the Petticoat Junction train.
I just don't like you.
You don't?
No.
What is today's petty history? Petty Junction.
Petty story of the day brought to you by ONORA Whiskey, ONORAWhiskey.com. It's that premium American whiskey, ONORAWhiskey.com. And if you drink, by all means, make sure we do so
responsibly.
You gotta do it responsibly. Hey, love. Can I put I don't know how many times I'm gonna put the White Sox on the petty train this year.
Oh my goodness. Again.
Left. They had a doubleheader yesterday. They played 2 games. You know how many people are in the stands left for 2 games?
Less than 100.
Now that would be man. Woo! Left. They drew in 2 games 3,000, bro.
Damn.
Exactly.
That's bad over there.
Exactamundo, bro. Now, of course, they give you the sold ticket thing. We sold this many tickets, and they have season ticket holders, right? But actual butts in the seats, 3,000, fam. I'm embarrassed.
Ownership. It's the ownership.
I'm embarrassed, bro. I'm flat out embarrassed, man. You can put them on a petty train, man. Put them on a petty train. I would like to thank the Miami Heat. Thank you for injuring Jimmy Butler as the Heat take on the Bulls for that 8th seed. There will be no Jimmy Butler. And I feel a little bit more confident, love, that the Bulls are able to step into that slot and get swept by the Celtics. I feel a little bit. They get 2 home playoff games, love. That's a little extra revenue from the jerk that owns the White Sox.
Man, you said it's gonna be a sweep with the Celtics?
Are you kidding me, love? Did you watch any of the regular season matchups between the Bulls and the Celtics?
Playoffs is another level, though.
They came to Chicago and sacked the starters and blew the Bulls out.
Oh my goodness!
Exactamundo. Exactly, Mundo, bro.
Oh no, that's terrible.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going through it over there. I don't know.
It's the worst sports city in the nation right now, bro.
The worst sports city in the nation.
In the nation. I don't even think it's close, though. I don't even think it's close. Did you see this story on ESPN, bro? That according to the two beat reporters that cover the Patriots, that when the Atlanta Falcons were going through their interviews, the owner, Robert Kraft, called the owner, Arthur Blank of the Falcons, and told him, don't hire Bill Belichick. He's not to be trusted. Last I checked, that man took you to 9 Super Bowls, dog.
Wow.
9. I don't care what happened. I don't.
Wait a minute.
Unless he did something to your family. You parted ways. You moved on. Why are you calling another man? Dude, that's like having a breakup with a girl. She gets with somebody else, and then you call that dude like, hey, man, I'm just calling you, man, just to tell you, you need to watch out. I wouldn't trust him if I was you.
That's kind of crazy.
That's super crazy, right?
I just show you owners are in it over anything. It's an owners league. They you know, fortunately. Wow.
You talking about arrogance? Man, that's crazy. Like Bill, man, I don't know the backstory. I know Bill has done some things that he probably didn't agree with in recent history, but man.
Wow.
You gonna keep
I wonder what
the
beef is there.
Man, look. He's trying to keep that man out of the league. That's crazy.
That's what it sounds like.
And I'm just gonna go ahead and put Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia on the petty train before it even happens. They're about to fill a lot of money this weekend. I'm just getting that vibe.
Yeah, I'm just getting the vibe too.
I'm just getting that vibe, man. It's gonna be a lot of people upset after this fight.
A lot of people.
It's gonna be a lot, dude. It's gonna be a lot of people upset, man. I, for one, would not be spending money. I'm just gonna tell you, I'll catch it on replay the next weekend. I'll catch it on replay. I can't do it, man.
I don't think it's worth spending this money.
I'm not even interested in seeing either one of them fight at this point.
Yeah, because they done goofed it up so much, it seems kind of corny.
I'm just not, man. Yo,
hopefully it's they ain't making it feel great.
And then the Atlanta Hawks. Look, man, you got rid of Nate McMillan that took you to the Eastern Conference Finals. You bring in Quinn Snyder, and the team has gotten worse. And that performance let me tell you, I watched the Bulls all year. They're not that good.
The Bulls look like an all-star team last night.
Dude, you let Kobe do that to you? Trae Young. Come on, bro. Like, the Bulls just aren't that good. And you let them scrape you like that?
Yeah.
I told you, bro, this NBA packages, I don't know. This first round might be, the NBA is happy that the Denver Nuggets and Lakers are in the first round. Well, the
NBA is definitely happy.
You know what? They have 2 marquee series. The other series are probably going to be garbage. Minnesota Phoenix might be entertaining, but the Knicks and the Sixers and the Nuggets and the Lakers are definitely going to be entertaining, and that includes the New York market and the LA market. The NBA is winning big in the first round of the playoffs. Big. They could not have scripted it any better. They could not have Jonte Porter, that bad fella, any better. they couldn't have left.
Who you got winning the Suns Minnesota series?
Oh, left. Man, look, I think it goes 7.
It definitely has to go 7 for TV.
I think it goes 7, and I'm gonna roll with Ant-Man.
Oh, over KD and Book and Bill?
Nah, they got to be healthy though.
Yeah,
that's the issue. I don't trust their health, bro. I already know Kawhi. I think Kawhi is out for game 1 against Dallas. I mean,
that's gonna happen.
That's expected, right? It's the same thing. What do we expect? We expect Bradley Beal to get hurt. That's what he does. That's what he does. Bradley Beal's gonna get hurt. He's gonna go home. He's gonna let Kamaya rub on his legs.
That's right.
And he's gonna be counting his chips. He's gonna be all good. Chips. He's gonna be all good. Kamaya's gonna rub his leg, make him feel better. He's gonna count the chips and sit there and watch his boys struggle to a 7-game series, with the 7th game being in Minnesota. And then on the other side, man, we have to see how Cat looks.
Yeah, Ed's taking over the identity of the team, but Cat's been there for all this time, really playing well.
Yeah, we'll see. This might be the last hurrah with Cat being in Minnesota as well. I would love to sneak Cat to Chicago. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
And Kobe White?
I'm just saying. No. First of all, that's Zach LaVine. There you go. Trying to sneak Zach LaVine in there. No, he's not in our plans. He's not in my plans. I can't speak for the front office. He's not in my future plan. Now, I'll take Lonzo Ball back off 2 knee injuries before I take that dude back.
Man, all I know is he had 50. He had 50 in the last playing game. He played it.
Well, Sid Irish, you haven't watched the NBA, watch that series with the Sixers and the Knicks. It should be entertaining.
Well, they don't have Julius Randle, so it shouldn't be. Joel Embiid should go crazy.
Well, Joel Embiid is like 75% maybe. He's not fully recovered.
I mean, he starts the season 75%.
Leave that man alone. Leave that man alone. Oh, by the way, I will say this. Jason Tatum, he snatched number 10 from your boy Ant Edwards, man. I might have to put him on a petty train, man. He bullied the youngster, bro.
He definitely did.
For Team USA. Now, you saw Ant Edwards put in work wearing number 10 this summer.
That's right.
Now, granted, he didn't win the gold, but you probably went to Grant Hill and was like, look, man, he didn't do 10 justice. He didn't bring the gold back. Kobe wore that. And that's fine. But, man, at least cut him a check, buy him a gift, something. Do something.
He definitely little Brody.
Yeah, he tapped him on the helmet. Hey, little fella. That's my jersey, little fella. He definitely did that to him, man. He definitely did that to him, man. Hey, everybody, tomorrow we're gonna really kick it. Take all your questions. That's gonna be the full show. We're gonna take all your questions. It's for the culture. You control the show. You control the topics, man. We already did the preview. We'll sit back. We'll play some more clips. And we have some clips we didn't get to this spring, so we'll play some of those clips and talk a little bit more. We'll have a couple of guests on tomorrow. Should be a fun show the day before, on the eve of the Blue and Gold game. Man, love, as always, man, it's a pleasure hopping on with you, brother. For everybody else out there, man, have a great Thursday evening, man. And as always, make sure you continue to spin it